So many of us are looking for solutions to our problems within technical analysis. And I did the exact same for almost 4 years. I thought the answers to my problems were in a better understanding of technicals, better understanding of markets, more indicators, more technical knowledge, whatever that may be. I thought the answers were external, but it soon dawned on me that I kept getting the same result, regardless of the strategy I traded, regardless of the technical analysis or indicators that I used. I was still losing, and I still kept losing with this approach. And it wasn't until the disgust of myself and my lack of results really forced me to look elsewhere. And that elsewhere was inwards. I had to look internally at myself, my thought patterns, my mental approach, and really question why I wasn't seeing results. And asking myself, does it make sense to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? Because that's all I was doing. I would find a new strategy, I would trade it, and then I would end up losing. And then I'd be like, what the hell? So I would jump to the next strategy, new concept, do the exact same. And it was this almost hamster wheel of just going around in circles, not making any meaningful progress. And the reason it took me so long to actually make meaningful progress because I was placing my judgment elsewhere. I was placing my judgment in the next mentor. I wasn't taking full responsibility, full accountability for my decisions because I lacked confidence. My confidence was crushed. I had no confidence. And so in order to protect myself, and this comes back to psychology, my brain was trying to protect myself, right, from being wrong and being the problem. So I would let someone else make the decisions. I would get my analysis from elsewhere. I would get my strategies from elsewhere because then it couldn't hurt me when things went wrong and when my results didn't show, because I wasn't the one that made that judgment. I wasn't the one that made that decision. So it wasn't my fault, right? But the problem that you do with this is you never learn anything because the decision weren't yours to make. And so how can you learn something from a decision that you never made and a mistake that you never made, right? You can't, because it wasn't yours in the first place. So it wasn't until I was just completely destroyed mentally, physically, emotionally, that I was so disgusted that I had no choice but to change something. Like something had to change. I had to do something different here. And that was when I started looking inwards. I started actually making my own decisions. I started auditing my emotions. I started journaling my feelings. I started becoming self-aware. I started trying to understand myself instead of trying to create certainty in the market and create a constant winning strategy. I started to try and understand myself, more about myself, my whole approach to trading, my psychology when I was in a trade, before I took the trade, during the trade, and after the trade. I journaled and documented that whole process. And that brings a level of self-awareness that not many other business endeavors do. And I think that's why trading is so emotionally punishing, because you have nowhere to hide. If you really want to succeed, you have to put yourself out there and you have to see yourself for who you are. Because if you keep brushing it under the rug, keep shying away from it, you won't make meaningful progress. But if you put yourself out there, you write everything down, you completely strip yourself of any excuse as to what's holding you back. Because you know and you can see that I feel a certain type of way when X happens, Y happens, and then you can really audit that. And I think that's what really changed for me, was the understanding that my self-awareness is my edge. My understanding of myself, and not the fact that I can control my emotions, but my ability to manage my emotions is my edge. Right? I'm not doing anything special. I'm just clipping the fat tail that was causing most of my losses, the 10 to 15% of bad trades that were causing my losses. I simply trimmed those off and finally started seeing results. Not crazy results, not 1,000%, not doubling my account in a week, but slow, steady, consistent results. And that's where things start to change. That's where the snowball effect takes a hold, and you finally start compounding your returns, your results, and really starting to grow as a trader. Then you can start focusing on technicals, really refining your approach, because you now know yourself. So you know what works for you and you know what doesn't work for you. So you can focus on your strengths, and then you can focus on your weaknesses also, and really expanding on your strengths and reducing your weaknesses. That is the route to true growth, and that is the route to consistency in trading.